Alright, I am live with Elden Ring. This is the third stream of this game, and we're at Raya Lucaria. Before I actually do Raya Lucaria, though, I'm gonna stop by Celia real quick and pick up some stuff. This town is clearly haunted by ghost sorcerers. Well, it's not clear that they are ghosts. It's also likely that they're just very adept at night sorceries, which I'll talk about later. I already got the golden seed for that earlier. I'm just gonna go ahead and light these 3 torches, and it'll, once all 3 are lit, all the seals in town should be unlocked. I'm only really looking for one specific item, but I might as well, while I'm here, just unlock everything. Okay. That's fine. Didn't mean to drop down quite that much. But somehow that didn't attract this person's attention. It's called an avionette, like a marionette except with the word avian in it, because it flies. Wasn't able to be as stealthy with this one. But a good thing it was clumsy. Alright, all the seals are broken. So there's some items we can collect here. That's mainly what I came here for, the Spelldrake Talisman +1. I will go ahead and equip that now. It only reduces magic damage by 17%, but given where we're going and the fact that it stacks with other forms of magic damage reduction, this will definitely be helpful. Okay. Oh, I must have already gotten the Staff of Loss. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay, I grabbed it last time I was briefly here. Oh, I'll just go ahead and loot everything and then leave. Night Comet is a pretty interesting sorcery. It's actually invisible to enemies. And the architecture of this town of Celia is also interesting as well. Notice like the windows have this these metal plates with these patterns over them, similar to what we'll find later on in the Eternal Cities. Celia has implied connections with the Eternal Cities. Ow. Okay. That should be most... There's like a painting I can get here, but this place is mostly looted. There's the painting. So, Celia now is known for night sorceries, which are what sorcerer assassins use. Night sorcery is associated with invisibility, so not only can they turn themselves invisible, but they can turn their weapons invisible as well. However, at one time, back when Radon was studying here, Celia was more known for gravity sorcery. And you may ask, okay, well, what changed? The likely explanation is the influence of the Nox. Nox being Latin for night. And we're about to see some of the Nox here. Alright. Key here is to try to keep them separated. Okay. Whoa. For some reason I started running really slowly there. Okay. One down. Now the other one should be easier to deal with. Assuming he doesn't dodge like that. Alright. He's just gonna dodge backwards this fight. That's fine. Oh. Wow, okay. And here I thought getting him down by himself would make this easier. Okay. Cool. So, now we see that the Nox have a presence here in Celia, which likely explains the presence of night sorceries. This right here, in fact, I'll show you what it is exactly once I rest here. Chair Crypt of Celia. So it's a chair, and it also has an area underneath it where stuff can be contained, usually important items. And you'll see this pattern here a lot in the underground areas. So above ground we see a tree pattern, a tree motif everywhere. This doesn't quite look like a tree. It looks more like, almost like a skeleton, like a spine and ribs. I don't really know what it is, just that we do see that pattern quite often underground. I'm not going to use sorcery probably. So, but if I were to Lusat's Glintstone Staff, it's it uses more FP, but it also powers up your sorceries. So if you don't care about FP consumption, you just want raw damage output, that's the staff to use. Once you meet the requirements for it anyway. And before I continue on to Raya Lucaria, I do want to mention that the boss of that area, Renala, is 80% resistant to magic damage. So what happens if you're a mage build and, you know, magic damage is the focus of your build? In that case, you want the ability to use your existing stats with a sorcery that doesn't do magic damage. In this case, there's a sorcery we can grab that will benefit from your high intelligence stat, but does purely physical damage. And that's what I'm going for now. I'm not going to use it, but I just want to show where it's at. And by the way, careful when going through the Swamp of Ionia, because if you venture into the wrong part of the swamp, you'll be invaded. Okay, so this is Rock Sling. This does purely physical damage. So when fighting Renala, if you don't have any other melee options that work well with your build, then this may be what you want to use. But we can also, we're not done yet, because we can also grab a staff that works very well with this sorcery. Oh, okay, I forgot this place is rotting. Alright, so I'll just leave. And if we come up here, we don't have to go into the room, you can just come alongside it. You can get the meteorite staff. And I'll show what the meteorite staff does in a bit. Once I rest. Okay. So the meteorite staff, as you can see, it already has S scaling with intelligence. The downside is you can't upgrade this. So early game, for the early and mid game, this might be the best staff you can possibly use. You just can't upgrade it. So late game, it falls off. It also gives you a 30% damage bonus to gravity sorceries. And we just got a gravity sorcery, Rock Sling. So if you're starting out as a sorcerer, just come over here to Caelid. You don't have to fight anything. Just pick up Rock Sling and the meteorite staff, and you already have yourself a good build without any combat required. Alright, but now that I got that out of the way, I will go ahead and start Raya Lucaria. Here we go. I still haven't gotten a lamp yet. I should probably get one soon. Let's see. Oh, okay, I can actually level up. That's nice. I'll do that once I get to the next side of Grace. This part can be a little bit tricky because you don't really have cover. Yeah, this part's a little bit challenging, as you can tell. Alright, that didn't go very well. I really need a Wondrous Physic tier that reduces damage. Okay, 1 is much better than 2. Yeah, I see you up there. Come on. Get down. Alright, I guess he's not going to. This right here is an illusory wall. You can actually use Margit Shackle or Moog Shackle once you acquire that later to deactivate all illusory walls in the nearby area. I'm probably not going to do that much this playthrough because I prefer just to show where they're at manually. Alright, once I get one more level I can start using Blood Flame Blade. I can get the lantern anytime. I don't need it right now. Actually, do I have any... Oh wow, I can actually get quite a bit of levels because I explored Moquin's Palace. You know what, let me actually do that. I didn't realize I was so loaded. Yeah, this is gonna ridiculously trivialize this whole place. Yeah. Yeah, I could have used Godric's Remembrance for a weapon, but I'm not going to. Okay. Okay, might as well push endurance a little bit. Mine's pretty important too. Wow, all the way up to level 53. Doing pretty good here. I'll get the lantern. There's lots of dark places in here, so. I do have a torch, but it would be nice to, you know, be able to two-hand my weapon. Ray Lucari's not going anywhere. And as I mentioned before, when you see a bunch of jellyfish congregate together like this, it means there's a point of interest here. In this case, they're pointing the way to a cave they would probably otherwise just not notice. There's a talisman you can get there, but I don't need it. I think it's the winged sword insignia. But there's a better version we can get much later on, and either way, it's not really going to be part of my build. Because I'm just using this Bloodhound's Fang. Alright. This is one of the merchants that sells the lantern. And while I'm here, I can also get the map fragment.
You're new around here. Surprised you found me in my... No matter, no matter. Why don't... Oh, but don't ask.
Well, that sounds suspicious. All right. Wow, that do a surprising amount of damage. You can take the long way to get up here, but this is much faster. While I'm here, I might as well do this Evergel, because if you're going for the Platinum Trophy, which I already have the Platinum Trophy, but I might as well show it anyway. If you're going for the Platinum Trophy, one of the things you need to do is collect all the legendary spells, and you can get one of the legendary spells here. By defeating this guy. Nice. Wow. So that's the bad part about the Bloodhound's Finesse follow-up, is the follow-up can often miss. If they make the slightest movement, you're gonna miss. And when you miss, it leaves you vulnerable. But the initial attack is pretty good. Flame of the Fell God. So, Adon is a fire monk. Well, kind of a renegade fire monk, but we'll get more into the story of the fire monks later. The legendary incantation is one of several that draws directly from the power of the fire giants. The fire giants, their god is called the Fell God. Let's see. Releases a ball of raging fire said to be inhabited by a Fell God. The fireball floats towards enemies and explodes, setting the area ablaze. We'll actually see this spell used a lot when fighting the fire giant. Arganthe, who we'll also meet, the chief guardian of the flame, had kept this incantation a well-kept secret until it was stolen by Adon. The Fell God still lurks within the fire giants. So the fire monks, their duty is to watch over the flame of the fire giants. And I'm not really going to talk about them yet. They'll become more relevant much later. But for now, let's get back to Raya Lucaria. Okay. This is pretty useful. It's not as helpful, I don't think, as the torch, but I mean, having this lantern just gives you a free source of light without any drawbacks. So I always keep it on my quick select menu. And as I mentioned in my last stream, whenever you see marionettes or puppetry of any sort, it's usually associated with sorcery. So there's usually sorcerers somewhere nearby or in an area that's been impacted by sorcery. Yeah, these guys are pretty resistant to damage. At least the sort of damage I'm doing. There's probably a type they're weak to. know what? Actually, I should probably remember to equip Blood Flame Blade once I have a chance. There we go. This is what I wanted. Alright, so I got, from the Spelldrake Talisman, I got some magic resistance. But now, I can get even more magic resistance, which is especially helpful here. And the only downside is I become weaker to lightning, but not many enemies here use lightning. In the base game, that is. One race of beings that's associated with magic, especially gravity sorcery, are the Alabaster Lords. That's actually who Radon learned gravity sorcery from in Zelia. And here's one of them now. Gravitational technique studied by the young Radon. His master was an Alabaster Lord with skin of stone. Now, last stream I actually unlocked a shortcut to Volcano Manor and just unlocked some sites of grace here in Altus Plateau. I didn't explore much in this area at all. Just wanted to get those sites of grace unlocked. But one way to get, an alternative way to get to Volcano Manor that is a bit tougher than the other options is to ride this thing all the way down to the bottom, and you have to get, there's something called an Abductor Virgin down there. It's like a rolling Iron Maiden, and you have to get killed by it, but the exact method you have to be killed is to be killed by being eaten. And if you manage to do that, then you get transported to like a trap dungeon near Volcano Manor. And the downside of that is you have to fight two of them to leave, and to leave the normal way. So Raya Lucaria is obviously a school of magic, and is actually older than the Erd Tree itself. So the traditions of Raya Lucaria have been around for a long time. And as such, they haven't gotten along with the Golden Order very well. And one reason for that is sorcerers of this time are basically the inheritors of the legacy of astrologers. I forgot there was a gap there. Unlike the real world, in the world of Elden Ring, astrology actually worked. And when fate is guided by the stars, but then the Golden Order comes along and the Elden Ring supplants the existing order, that kind of messes things up for those who used to guide their fate by stars. And there was even two wars called the Liurnian Wars, in which the forces of Raya Lucaria, which is why they have a military, had to repel the forces of the Golden Order. Olivina's Glintstone Crown. One of the Glintstone Crowns bestowed upon Raya Lucaria scholars whose pursuits were deemed worthy. The lineage of the Olivina's Conspectus began with the sorcerer Lusat, who we'll also meet later, and its adherents continue its study of meteors. So it's very likely that... So Lusat is from Celia originally, and it's very likely that Lusat is the one who brought the study of gravity magic to Rea Lucaria, because this isn't something it's not a type of sorcery that's very common here. Notice how these sorcerers are all wearing these type of stone mask. They're wearing, so sorcerers who could only master very basic spells are sent to work in the mines. But for those who are more advanced, they're allowed to stay in Rea Lucaria. And each of these stone masks represent a school of magic, and the stone masks are modeled after the founder of those schools of magic. So those, for instance, who dedicate themselves to studying the Olavinus Conspectus will wear masks patterned off of Olavinus. And in the first stream, we met Selen, who was also wearing a mask of herself, because she's one of the people who's elite enough to have a school named after her, the Graven School. Just gonna draw this guy's attention. Oops. I was hoping for some friendly fire. You know, actually, I don't need to deal with this. I can just run. Time to fight a boss. Red Wolf of Radagon. And yeah, this wolf can do sorcery. And actually, there's several of these red wolves in the game, and they can all do sorcery. So that appears to be an ability that is inherent to red wolves as a species. Nice. That was not that difficult. But again, I am level 53, so that helps. This is another illusory wall. And again, if you're going for a platinum trophy, picking up the comet, I believe, is one of the legendary. I don't remember if this is one of the legendary spells, but it seems like it probably should be. So, the people wearing the Corollas crown, which was a good number of them back there, are modeled after this guy. And these pots are passive right now, but the reason I'm taking them out is because if I approach that crystal mound there, they'll all rush me. So I'd rather just take them out individually before then. And this is a useful talisman to increase the potency of sorceries. There's a more powerful one much later on in the game. And you'll recognize this room as being the one of all the spell spamming. Okay, I've already took out the pot. So I think that's all of them. Nice. So most people know what a sundial is. These things, we see them all over the lands between, especially in places connected to magic. These show phases of the moon, so there's no name is given for them as far as I know in game, but if they look like sundials but they're for the moon, I'm just gonna call them moon dials. This person right here is Renala. She's the head of Rea Lucaria, although now she's the head of it in name only, and the staff underneath that is a replica of the staff she uses. Not only is she the head of Rea Lucaria, but she's also the head of the House of Caria and a queen. These are the heads of the different schools. And of course, that's Renala, the head of the academy. And that person right there is Selen, who we met in the first stream. And she's actually banned from... Selen, Lusat, and Azur are all banned from the academy for heretical research. As they should be, because once you learn more about what type of research you're doing, you'll understand. This area is easily missed if you don't look over the railing. This shortened spellcasting time, it's one of the legendary talismans, which you'll want to collect if you're going for platinum. It's also unnecessary if you have high enough dexterity. I don't remember the exact number, but basically, dexterity shortens spellcasting time up to a certain cap. I forget, it's a low number, whatever that cap is. And the way Radagon Icon works is it basically gives you what's called virtual dexterity. So it's almost like having more dexterity points for the purpose of shortening your casting time. Yeah, that right there is called an Inductor Virgin, and yeah, I don't want to mess with that. They're annoying to deal with. Glintstone Whetblade. So in the first stream, I obtained the Whetstone Knife that allows you to add new Ashes of War onto most normal weapons. This lets you, let's see, apply magic or frost affinity type when you're applying an Ash of War. So basically, let's just say you just want to apply any Ash of War to like say the quick step Ash of War or whatever, or double slash Ash of War to a sword, for instance. Well, when you apply that, normally that Ash of War has the default affinity that automatically gets applied to the weapon. However, with this, it'll let you also, in addition to the default affinity, you have the option of also choosing either the magic or the cold affinity. Just like the Iron Wet Blade lets you choose heavy, keen, or quality. And what's interesting is, if you choose the cold affinity, then you can get the benefit of intelligent scaling without limiting yourself to magic damage. So if you have an intelligence build, don't overlook cold affinity. People think, okay, I have intelligence, so I have to choose magic. No, consider cold as an option as well. Because sometimes you'll meet enemies and bosses who are heavily resistant to magic, and so it's good to have other options. Just like how Rock Sling is a good option for magic resistant bosses because it does physical damage. There is a way you can actually go up there and take out the enemies who are responsible for that. But for now, I'm going to fight this guy, the Moongrum Knight. Well, Moongrum Carrion Knight. He can actually parry you, so you have to watch out. No, you don't. Easy. This is a pretty good shield for defending against magic attacks. Excels when facing magic or holy attacks. Just who are these knights preparing to fight? So that's kind of interesting. It's a Carrion Knight, and the Caria is the house of Renala, who's head of Rea Lucaria for now, in name only. But there's conflict between the House of Caria and Rea Lucaria. And also, there's been conflict with the Golden Order. And the Golden Order is associated with holy affinity. So this is a shield that will be effective against both the forces of Rea Lucaria and the forces of the Golden Order. This portal is taking us here. And I'll go ahead and grab the Site of Grace. This is the Church of Vows. And let's see how much... Okay, I can get a level. Okay. Endurance is helpful. I did say I was going to get the Blood Flame Blade, and I should buy a seal to use with this. This is Muriel, or as he's often called, Turtle Pope. I'll need this for a box quest later. This statue is of one of the Nox, who we fought in Celia as a dual boss. And if you commit an act of aggression against an NPC, but don't kill them, and you want them to no longer be hostile, you need an item called Celestial Dew, and you can come here and do a ritual of atonement, and they'll become non-hostile.
You're tarnished, aren't you?
Throughout the game, you can get scrolls and tomes to learn spells and incantations, and there's NPCs you can give these things to in order to learn these, but typically those NPCs have their own quest lines and may end up moving elsewhere, or they may end up dead. So when you get one of those, instead of giving it to one of those other NPCs, you want to give it to Muriel, because he's always going to remain in the same location and be available throughout the entire game to teach you these spells.
Well, that is a shame. But who can blame? The shattering has caused us, all of us, to lose sight of something very dear. It is here, at the Church of Vows, that the great houses of the Erd Tree and the Moon were joined by the matrimonial bond between red-haired Radagon and Renala of the Full Moon.
So remember the name Radagon.
And so our church holds in view the monuments of both houses, the Erd Tree of the capital and the Academy of Rea Lucaria. Oh, was there something you needed? You are free to show your... I would serve as your guide, only my legs aren't what they used to be. If you find anything of use, you are free to take it with you. Unless, perhaps, you are in search of instruction, in which case I will share all that I know. You wish to know more of Lord Radagon? Lord Radagon was a great champion, possessed of flowing red locks. He came to these lands at the head of a great golden host. When he met Lady Renala in battle, he soon repented his territorial aggressions there, and became husband to the Carian queen. However, when Godfrey, first Elden Lord, was hounded from the lands between, Radagon left Renala to return to the Erd Tree capital, becoming Queen Marika's second husband and king consort, taking the title of Second Elden Lord. The mystery endures to this day as to why Lord Radagon would cast Lady Renala aside, and moreover, why a mere champion would be chosen for the seat of Elden Lord. Oh, what have we here? Very well, let us... Heresy is all things. Oh, what have... Very well, heresy is all things.
I'm not going to learn any of these, but
Is this...
let's see. Is there anything else? Okay.
You wish to know more of Lady Renala? She is queen, head of the Carian royal family, and governor of the Academy of Rea Lucaria, the great and beautiful full moon witch. Sadly, her heart was broken when Lord Radagon left her, and then, when the Academy rebelled against the royals, she was locked away in the Grand Library. You know, it's said that Lord Radagon harbored a secret. A famed sculptor of the Erd Tree capital was once summoned to render Lord Radagon's likeness in giant stature, when he glimpsed the skeleton in Radagon's closet. And as such, it's said the great statue harbors his secret too.
Okay. So, Radagon was at war with Liurnia. There was actually two wars, and he was not able to defeat Liurnia in battle. So you know how the saying goes: if you can't beat them, join them. So he actually ended up marrying Renala, which would have been a interesting political alliance. But after some time, after Godfrey was exiled, Godfrey was Marika's first husband and the first Elden Lord. After Godfrey was exiled, Radagon left Renala and married Marika and became the second Elden Lord. And there'll be some, and as far as secret that Muriel mentioned, we'll explore that later. I'm not going to give away what that secret is right now. But also, if you're noticing something kind of weird about the architecture of this church, we'll be revisiting this later, because there is something weird about it. But for now, we met Muriel, so let's go back to Rea Lucaria. Oh, you know what? No, I forgot. I need to buy something from the Round Table Hold. Because I like to be able to cast Blood Flame Blade. And I need a seal for that. Yeah, that guy, we're ignoring him for now. also get a memory stone. Don't know if I'll use it, but I'll grab it. All right. And hopefully this doesn't mess up my equip load. Nope. Okay. Nice. So Bloodflame Blade is interesting. First of all, my sword that I'm using, Bloodhound's Fang, it already causes blood loss buildup. Applying the Bloodflame Blade incantation to it will add even more blood loss buildup to it, and also allow it to do fire damage. And this is a Bloodflame Blade is a weapon buff, and normally weapon buffs cannot be applied to somber weapons, but Bloodhound's Fang is an exception. This is the seal of... Actually, this doesn't look like the seal of Rhea Lucaria. Oh no, this is the Carian seal. Okay. Yeah, so Rhea Lucaria has his own seal, but the House of Caria is this seal. And before I continue on to the boss fight, there is more I can grab from Rhea Lucaria. I'm going to do the boss fight last. I can open up this shortcut. Oh. Okay, I get it. Over here. Nope. There's some stuff in here, like there's a crossbow that I could grab that I'm probably not going to. Alright. Idea is to lure these guys down one at a time. Otherwise, these things can really be a problem. And I wish this guy would just run up on me, but he's going to play it safe as well. Maybe not. Maybe he is dumb enough to approach. Okay, works for me. Cool. Now, I want to try aggro one of these at a time. There we go. Easy. These crystal darts are interesting. Basically, if you throw a few of these at a golem, it'll turn on its own kind and attack other enemies. On their own, they're a throwable item that doesn't really do much, but for some enemies like golems or some others, especially in the DLC, it actually makes them frenzy and attack others. Now the safest option here is to go down here and, through here. But you can also, if you're running and you jump at the very edge, you can you can just barely make this jump. Actually, I'll go ahead and be thorough and just show off the full academy. Might as well. Yeah, I see you there. So even though I'm wearing this armor and I have the Spelldrake Talisman +1, as you can see, you can still become overwhelmed pretty easily by magic in this game. So it is helpful to try to isolate your threats here one at a time. You definitely don't want to be in a room full of sorcerers spamming spells at you. Full Moon Crossbow. One-of-a-kind enchanted crossbow of exquisitely detailed craftsmanship, made to celebrate the matrimonial union and reconciliation between the houses of the Erdtree and the Full Moon, Lanedale and Raya Lucaria. Lanedale is the capital of the Lands Between and seat of the Golden Order. The two rings dance when reloading the weapon. Notice the rings are gold and silver to represent Golden Order and magic, correspondingly. Reveals true worth when used when wholly infused bolts, because the Golden Order, and therefore Radagon of the Golden Order, is associated with holy affinity. I hope don't mess this jump up. Yeah, I get nervous about that jump. I just barely make it each time. And I wish there's a stealthy option to sneak past this guy, but there's not, as far as I know. I could use, I guess, an invisibility spell, but I don't have those. So glintstone is how they do magic. So most of their sorceries that is studied here in Raya Lucaria are glintstone sorceries. And glintstone are those like bluish green crystals you see everywhere in Liurnia, and Selene calls them the amber of the cosmos. So she says basically the same way that actual amber contains residue of life, glintstone contains residue of the life of the stars. Because as I said before, sorcerers are basically the inheritors of astrologers. So the study of sorcery is, in effect, the study of the stars. And again, it should be pointed out that this is a fictional game and no, astrology is not real. I'll wait till one of them leaves. There we go. And if you may recognize this room as being the first room of the academy when we entered, except we're much higher up now. Academy Glintstone Key. I can actually give this to Tops. That's what he's looking for. I see you back there. You're not sneaking up on me. A guy with a long-range repeating crossbow in a narrow hallway can actually be more of a threat than he may look. So I'd rather not try to charge at him down a narrow hallway. I'll let him come to me. Yeah, that's why. Wow, okay. I'm using a lot of flask, but wow, that's why I need to use a lot of flask. I can't even get a hit on this guy. Finally. Azura is one of the sorcerers who was expelled from the academy for heretical research. And this is an example of heretical research. These are other sorcerers that have been fused together, likely by Selen. Although possibly by Azure, since we do find the staff there. Okay. Twin Sage, Glintstone. These things, by the way, they increase your intelligence if you wear them. This by 6 points. I actually need this, not to wear right now, but much later on for Gold Mask quests. Alright, let's go back to the debate parlor. And actually, just real quick before I do that, I do have this key to get the tops. Let's go ahead and do that. So, he admits that he doesn't really have much of a place in the academy because he's too... Basically, he's not bright enough to master their sorceries. So he's already kind of an outcast there. So he's been trying to get back in. And you have to think, if they want him back, then the fact that he got trapped outside without a key wouldn't be an impediment if they actually want him back. So if we're going to help him get back into the academy, but if we're helping him and they don't want him there,
You're most welcome.
how do you think that's going to go?
Anemic little spells. Are you certain you're willing to give your glintstone key to me? My, oh my. Thank you. Thank you dearly. Now I can go back to the academy to resume my study of glintstone sorceries. And the very stars.
Yeah, let's see how that works out for you. Erudition. This is a gesture that is useful in 2 places. Required in one of the 2 places, actually. He looks
Back to
happy.
another. Why, of course. Back to the why, of course. Thank you dearly. With your blessing, or perhaps one day, you'll pay me a visit. Who knows? I may be a decorated sorcerer by then.
Ambitious. Let's see how that works out for you. Okay. Schoolhouse classroom is where he's going to go. And he's dead. So, in case it wasn't obvious by the fact that they keep trying to kill us, Ray Lucaria's scholars aren't exactly the nicest people. See, he appears to have rope tied around him, so they did something to him. It seems like he was in some way considered too dull to learn the sorceries at the academy, but in other ways, he was ahead of his time, as emphasized by Top's barrier spell. Future generations will learn. They will know the foolishness of the sneering sorcerers who ridiculed this theory, little realizing that it was in fact a discovery worthy of a new conspectus of the academy. Yeah. I could be tempted to think, okay, maybe he died from an accident or some other source, but the fact that there's his rope that looks like it's tied to his arm, I don't buy it. Okay. Well, with all that done, it's time to fight the boss, Renala. This is going to be a kind of a chaotic fight, so I'll talk more about Renala once the fight's over. But one interesting thing to note about this fight is this is one boss who we don't actually kill. She's going to remain alive and well at the end of this. Some people have trouble with this rolling ball section. Just follow the exact path that I did and you'll be fine. It has a specific path, so just run the same route I did and it'll miss you. And this shouldn't be much of a problem, but I like to send down the elevator anyway. It'll be dark inside, so might as well do that. Alright, here we go. Time to fight Renala, who is actually a prisoner here. The Academy rebelled against her. Yeah, these things are creepy. They're called juveniles, even if they don't look like kids. They're called juveniles for a reason, and we'll get into that. And no, they don't walk. They're born defective.
Little Calva. I'll soon birth thee anew.
The fact that Renala, as big as she is in a baby cradle and talking like that, she's not altogether there mentally. Well, time to beat up a mentally disturbed lady. I'd like to target these ones who have the glowing stuff. Hoping to apply blood flame blade. There. Okay. Hopefully that counted.
hold thee. Patience. Ye will be countless born, forever and ever. Upon my name is Rani the Witch. Mother's rich slumber shall not be disturbed by thee. Foul trespasser. Send word far and wide. Of the last queen of Caria, Renala of the full moon.
Last queen and also technically first queen.
And the majesty of the night she conjureth.
This fight can really mess up your stamina. And these wolves aren't attacking me because I have the beast repellent torch.
Little Rani.
But other than the wolves, she can also summon trolls, a bloodhound knight, and even a dragon.
Where did ye flee, my sweetings? Come out from whence.
So as you can see, Renala is totally fine. What we just fought in the second phase wasn't really her. It seemed to have been an illusion, basically a trap set by Rani for anyone who would disturb Renala. Rani is the daughter of Renala. She's the person we met at the Church of Ella who introduced herself as Rena, but her actual name is Rani. So that's why Renala is still alive, and that egg that she's holding is what she uses for rebirth rituals. So the little creepy ladies who are crawling around the floor there, the ones called juveniles, they're the subjects of her rebirth experiments that she keeps doing over and over to people, but the rebirths are imperfect, which is why they can't walk. It causes issues with people who attempt it. We can actually undergo rebirth ourselves using a larval tier, which we have one. I'm not going to use it at this time, but basically the reason why it is going to work fine for us, but it didn't work for all those others, is because now we have the Great Rune of the Unborn, which is used to perfect rebirth. As it says here, children born anew by Renala are all frail and short-lived, imperfect beings each and all. And we've seen statues of America. This is a statue of Radagon. And when you see statues of America, she has her arms out to her side, but she's in a more passive pose, like she's hanging by her arms. Radagon has a more active posture, like he's protecting something. And the sort of lattice pattern in his background sort of emphasizes that. And we'll be able to open this chest much later on. But yeah, if you have a larval tier, and there's only a limited number in the game, there's like 18 available in the base game and an additional 9 in the DLC. And some of them are actually pretty hard to find. You can actually come here and reallocate your stats. So if you've leveled up intelligence, but then you decide you wish you would have leveled up strength instead, you can reallocate those levels that you spent.
Where did he flee, my sweetings?
So yeah,
Come
she's...
out from whence ye hide. There are
After
books
Radagon left her,
and
she
light
sort of
of
lost her mind.
plenty.
Well, it wasn't just Radagon leaving her.
Come out,
Stuff
say
happened to her
I,
kids as well.
or will ye be
Like, for
gravestones
all we know, she probably
to be
thinks that her
better
daughter
born
Ronnie is
and
dead.
know?
And other stuff happened to her other two children, Radon and Rykard. So she's been through a lot, and she lost her mind. And the others at the academy saw her as weak, and so they rebelled against her and locked her up in the library. So yeah, again, not nice people here. But yeah, if you want to be reborn, you can come back to Renala, and she'll help out with that. Alright, at this point, I don't believe I've done much with Bach's questline, so let me actually progress his questline. But if you're gonna fight Renala, it does help to have that beast repellent torch. In fact, it kind of looked like the torch was repelling not only the beast, but also Renala herself once it pulled it out, which is kind of funny. And that also makes me think of something. When we first met Ronnie, not only did she lie about her name, but she also said that the spirit calling bell was given to her by Torrent's former master. Now, we know that one of Torrent's former masters was Melina. From promotional art for the DLC, it's also implied that Mikola may have written Torrent at one point. We see no indication at all that Renala was ever Torrent's former master, but we do know that Renala can summon spirits, and in particular, she can specifically summon the Lone Wolf ashes, which are the first ashes that Ronnie gives to us. So Ronnie was likely lying. Ronnie was likely lying about where she got the spirit calling bell from. It's probably something from the House of Caria, but she didn't want to reveal her identity as Ronnie. She's still operating under the pretense of being this Rena person. We do see other instances of spirits being summoned, other than by Renala, but those other instances were by military commanders, who are summoning soldiers. Not beasts or anything like that, but specifically soldiers. So I believe that's a different type of summoning magic. So last stream, Bach mentioned that he was going to go to a coastal cave and retrieve something. Obviously, that didn't go very well for him.
Wait. You must leave this place at once. They'll rush in and beat you to a pulp. You'll end up just like me.
I don't think so.
Oh.
I have a lot of runes. Let me level up. Okay. Bigger 30 is good for now. Yeah, it's dark here. Nope, not illusory. And speaking of killing demi-humans, I'm gonna have to go back to Fort Height later. Because the demi-humans will have taken over the fort by now. And we can actually summon Ispawn if we haven't killed him yet. You kill Ispawn as part of the Volcano Manor questline. Or you can, you know what, I'll summon him. Let's just see what he looks like. The sword he carries kind of reminds me of the swords by the Kaiden Raiders. Those guys on horseback with the big swords. This boss fight is really a bunch of demi-humans with 2 demi-human chiefs. Not a big deal. Now, take care of the other chief. Wow, this is actually kind of fast. Now that we've killed the chiefs, these guys are cowering in fear. Well, I don't care. They mess with Bach, so I'm not accepting surrender. This is the Church of Dragon Communion, where you can trade dragon hearts for dragon incantations. But the thing is, you don't have this nearly the same selection as the Cathedral of Dragon Communion. So this is the Church of Dragon Communion. The cathedral is around here in Caelid, and it's basically the same, except it has more spells available. And it's interesting that, so obviously we see some ruins from Farum Azula. The ruins would have crashed from the sky, and we see what looks like a statue of an ancient dragon, which the only place we find the ancient dragons really, besides one in Lanedale, are in Farum Azula. So it's possible that this church was built around the crashed ruins of Farum Azula. There we go. Okay, so let's talk to Bach again.
Leave this place at once. They'll rush in and beat you to a pulp.
No, they won't. I'm built different.
You'll end up just like me. Wait. Is that what I think it is? You got it
It's
back
a needle.
for me. My sewing needle.
You couldn't have found a needle someplace else?
What made you go and do a thing like that? My mum was a seamstress, and that sewing kit was all I had to remember her by. I always wanted to be just like sweet old mum. Then I suppose I can't just curl up and die, can I? Thank you. You're very kind. I always wanted to be a seamstress like my mum.
Okay. So, let's go back to Fort Height. So last time I was at Fort Height, the demi-humans were attacking the fort. And I cleared the fort by killing the Knight Commander at the top. And actually, you know what? Before I do that, I have to talk to Kenneth Hyde, and then I can go to Fort Hyde. Because I don't think I've told him yet that his fort has been freed. Now I'm out of the sorcery area, I might as well put this back on.
Is anybody there? Someone who might be interested in rescuing the great Kenny Fight, servant to the true order and celebrated repudiator of the false. Ah, you've come to lend me your aid, have you? Well, that's very kind, but no. The help is very much appreciated, even from a tarnished.
So the game is challenging, and one of the challenges is resisting the urge to kill NPCs like this who have this attitude.
Next in line is the rightful ruler of Limgrave, the Untarnished. I would have a boon of you. I want you to take back my fort. It lies to the south,
Already done.
beyond the Mistwood. A knight commander from Stormvale took it. A fool, and plumb mad to boot. Simply obsessed with blood. What's this, kind sir? Remarkable.
Oh, now I'm kind, sir.
The knight
Okay.
commander dead. Already? A blessing if ever I chanced upon one. Fine work, I say. Fine work indeed. I doubt that it was your intention, but the deed is done, and I commend you. Now, this is your reward. Go on. It's yours for the keeping.
Oh, nice. A dagger.
Time for me to head to the fort.
A dagger actually is kind of useful because you can apply utility ashes of war like Bloodhound Step to it, and since
You don't believe me?
they're very lightweight,
Under the Earth Tree,
so
co-living with the demi-humans is made
it can make it worthwhile. So let's just say I have
shall not be left behind.
I have a main weapon, right? And I want to be able to use Bloodhound Step or another Ash of War like that, like
Ruler of Limgrave have sworn to uphold it. Just you watch, my friend.
like that one that makes you kind of invisible. I forget the name of it right now. But basically utility ashes of war like that. A dagger takes up very little weight, in this case 2 pounds, so I can just apply that ash of war to that dagger and just use it as needed.
Would you like? I see bright things in your future, stout warrior. Enter into my service and learn the workings of the Erdtree's true order. And who knows? Perhaps sometime down the line, the grace of gold will return to those tarnished eyes of yours. What say you? A fine accord, is it not? Very well, very well.
I don't like this guy, but I gotta do it for the quest.
I shall await you at my fort. We shall hold a ceremony for your knighting there, I think. I see great things ahead of us. We are truly by the Erdtree blessed.
Okay, so I reclaimed your fort for you, but you're blessed by the Erdtree. And by the way, in case the etymology of Erdtree wasn't clear, Erd sounds very similar to Earth, like Earth Tree, which could make you think of World Tree, and therefore Yggdrasil, the World Tree of Norse mythology. If your mind went to that in that direction, then that's the right direction to go, because that's a very obvious inspiration for this Erdtree. Okay. So now Kenneth Hyde should be in control of the fort, but even though he's in control, demi-humans will still be hostile. But they're just demi-humans. Alright. Someone tell me this screaming doesn't do anything. Alright, easy. And you do want to take them out because otherwise they'll attack while you're trying to have a conversation with Kenneth up here, and that can cause issues.
Eva, I suppose you must have seen it by now, yes? The sorry state of my fort.
Yeah, because you're letting dim humans in.
It is a foul fate for a land to be without a ruler. One must be found with haste, and not that awful Godric, but a true and stalwart lord of the proper lineage to take the reins of Limgrave. I'm sorry to have lifted your hopes, but I haven't the authority to raise you to knighthood as things stand. The great Kenneth Height issues his sincerest apology. But now, I must begin my search post-haste for a true and stalwart lord of the proper lineage to take the reins of Limgrave.
Okay. Okay. Might as well clear out this guy because I can get Deathroot for it. I am going to be collecting Deathroot on this playthrough. And by the way, Bloodflame Blade doesn't really do anything for spectral enemies because they're incapable of blood loss. So this guy looks ghostly, so blood loss probably won't have any effect on him. That was easy. Let's go. Let's do Castle Morn, actually. Definitely want to be careful with this ballista. So last stream, when I was looking for the blood of a maiden, one of the choices that I had was this person over here named Irina. But the only way to get her blood is to kill her right here, and that'll mess up some quests, so I'm just going to go ahead and do her quest now.
Might I bend your ear for a moment, please? My name is Irina. I've escaped from Castle Morn to the south. The servants there have rebelled. I can't be sure what it is. My eyesight's been weak since birth, you see. But I swear I heard frightful howling from all over. My good father secreted me out the castle, but decided himself to stay. He says it's his duty. As commander, I fear for father's life. The servants are full wrath, filled with hatred for every one of us. They've since come for every one of the companions I escaped with. They haven't spared a soul. I fear it's no different at Castle Morn. Please, I implore you, would you mind taking a letter to my father at the castle? My soul wishes that he escape, even if his honor should be the price. Please. I just want him to be safe. Thank you. Dearly. Then please, take this. Deliver it to my father, who remains in the castle, if you please.
Gorgeous silken handkerchief lightly stained with blood. Words can be made out within. So that's kind of interesting because notice her dress has blood on it. The way she has her hand over her lap, it could be her blood, but it also could be, I mean, she escaped from the castle and there's dead soldiers around here, so, you know, who knows whose blood it could be. If you come to this area at night, there's a death bird that will attack you. The Siege of Castle Morn. A lone hero fights for his vengeance only to fall at the hand of Lord Godfrey. So there's something interesting about the positioning of this castle. And it'll become more apparent once we get more into it, but its back is to the sea, right? So one would think that it's meant to defend against invasions from the sea. But after exploring the castle, it seems to me that it's meant to repel invasions from land. Because this part is more heavily fortified than the part adjacent to the sea. And like Castle Stormveil, this is also Norman architecture. But unlike Castle Stormveil, this is much more pragmatic. This doesn't have the ridiculous ornamentation of Castle Stormveil. Looks like they're having fun. There's no need to fight all these guys, I just sneak past them. So usually this guy jumps at you, so what I was doing is I was running away because I was waiting for him to jump, and then I was going to attack him as soon as he landed. Didn't quite work that way though. These guys fly, so it's just, they're annoying to deal with, so I just come this way. And you can go talk to Irina's father here. I'm just gonna proceed onward. If you talk to him, you can get him to help you with the boss of this area as a summon, but he's not really needed. Actually, really, none of the summons are needed, but sometimes I summon for plot reasons. I think disgrace is the least of your concerns. They're so distracted for I can just run past them. These creatures are called the Misbegotten, and yeah, Hugh in the Round Table Holt, the blacksmith, he's the Misbegotten as well. And they're called the Misbegotten because, obviously, they were born wrong. Misbegotten, that's what it means, born wrong. And the reason for that is the Crucible. So, before the age of the Erd Tree, long before, there was the Crucible, in which different forms of life were more conjoined than they are now. There wasn't this separation of species. So, those who are born with vestigial features like tails or horns or stuff like that are said to have aspects of the Crucible. And that's likely the cause of the deformities of the Misbegotten. Hello, Steven. It's going pretty well. This isn't my first time playing. What I'm doing is I'm actually playing and explaining the lore and story of the game, and also trying to make the game. The goal is to make the game more accessible to newcomers. Thanks for the follow. I'm starting out streaming. I haven't been streaming for very long. Streamed a few other games like Shadow of the Colossus, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and I'm going to be finishing up my stream of A Plague Tale, as well as Spec Ops, so not really that many games yet. And this Elden Ring stream is going to take a while. This is my 3rd Elden Ring stream so far. So I'm pretty new to this whole streamer thing. Okay, time to fight a boss. Let's do this. Oh, super crazy art stuff. I'll be interested to hear more about that. Alright. Let's take this guy out. Sure, let me take this guy out. If I can. Okay. There we go. Grafted Blade Greatsword, and obviously this, as a lot of people know, the backstory for this game, the background lore, was written by George R. R. Martin, and you can definitely see his influence here. Like, I mean, this makes it pretty obvious. But this is one of the legendary weapons that you would want to collect for the Platinum Trophy. Okay, I'll check it out. Check out the Discord later. Thank you. Of course, I do get a lot of spam bots, so, you know, you do have to be careful with that. But I'll check it out. Okay, cleared out the castle, so now it's time to talk to Edgar. Yeah, so I'm finding that normally when someone is really insistent like that, it tends to be a spam bot, so, you know. Unfortunately, there's no way to backtrack to Edgar. You have to start from the beginning again, but I have a pretty quick route to him. And if you go up this hill and through there, you can actually get the Claymore weapon. I'm probably not going to use the Claymore weapon, so I'll skip it for now. Yeah, I mean, you can wait for a request on Discord, but as you can see, I'm kind of occupied at the moment, so I don't know what you're expecting. There we go. And I guess I have enough to level up, so I'll do that once I can. Turn the way. Are you following me? Yeah, spam bot confirmed.
There's a face I've not seen before. I'm Edgar, warden of this castle, as ordained by Lord Godric himself. But you can see how things have turned out. The menials have all rebelled. They gave me good service, or so I thought. But it seems it was all an act. Foul creatures, as it said, and true enough, they're foul inside and out. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but whatever you come here to do, I'm afraid Castle Morn won't hold much longer. Take this, by way of apology. I see. From Arena. Thank you. But I can't leave yet.
Yeah, you can.
Even if the castle should fall, as commander, I must remain to ensure the treasured sword of Morn.
The sword
does
that I
not
have in my
fall
possession.
into the wrong hands. I'm in your debt for keeping the sword from those fallen creatures. I'm no longer bound by duty. Once I've rescued Arena, I will spend my remaining days with her. Thanks to you, and devote my remaining days to her. Arena has a gentle nature, though. I only hope it remains intact.
Yeah, so about that. Let's go check on Arena. Yeah, that didn't go well for her.
Rena, how could this be? My daughter deserved better. The fault lies with me. I chose duty over my daughter's safety. And that is how fate has answered.
I'll find them. The foul wretches responsible for this. I'll hunt them down and exterminate every last one of them. Rest assured, Arena, it will be done.
Wow, informative message there. So, remember what Arena looks like, what dress she's wearing, the fact that she has a blindfold over her face, and the fact that, you know, her hairstyle. Take all this in, and now let's go see something. Same person, right? Same hairstyle, blindfold, even the blood-stained dress. And same voice actress too, by the way. But different name.
Hello? Is someone there? My name is Hayata, and I'm journeying in search of the distant light. If I might be so bold as to ask, would you donate any Shibriri grapes in your possession to me? My eyesight has been weak since birth, you see. I can't tell which way I'm supposed to go next, but when I eat one of those grapes, I can feel a distant light in the back of my eyes. It will lead me to my true duty as a finger maiden. Oh, many thanks to you. Now I can feel the distant light once more. You are most kind indeed. May the blessing of the fingers be upon you.
So this is Hayata, and she only appears after Arena dies. But if she dies because you killed her, that can cause issues for Hayata's questline. Hayata may still appear, but you'll be unable to complete her questline.
You are most kind indeed. May the blessing of the fingers be...
Okay, so we'll have to meet her at several locations throughout the land and give her more Shibriri grapes. But there's more stuff to grab in the Weeping Peninsula, so let's grab it. And, oh, is it? Oh, it's turning nighttime already. which means a knight's cavalry comes out. There's several knight's cavalry throughout the game. Some of them harder than others. Easiest one is probably in Limgrave. This is the second easiest. But even still, they can be kind of challenging. And the goal of the Knight's Cavalry is to hunt down Tarnished. They work for Morgoth. And they hunt down Tarnished, who are seen as a threat to the Golden Order. And yeah, the Knight's Cavalry himself, the rider, is the actual boss. The horse has his own health bar. But you only have to kill the rider. That was not bad. They vary in difficulty. The one in Caelit's much harder. There is one boss where, in order to get the reward, it's 2 Knight Rider Cavalries, and you have to defeat both of them to get the reward, which is worth it. But it still can be pretty challenging. And yeah, they only come out at night, so if it's nighttime when you're fighting them, but it turns day, they can disappear. I keep meaning to level up. So this is another rise with a seal, and this has a seal, the symbol of Rhea Lucaria here. Seek 3 wise beasts. Wise beasts are turtles. Here's one of them. You have to hit them with something to make them disappear. There's the second one. And the third one, this is an interesting little twist. Notice how there's like a little splash pattern here? The third one's invisible. There's a torch in this game called the Sentry's Torch. It lets you see invisible enemies. I actually have never tried using the Sentry's Torch for these turtles. So I don't know if that torch actually works or not. It doesn't reveal invisible bridges, so it's not like it reveals everything. It's not like it reveals everything invisible. I think it only works with a certain type of invisibility. And these memory stones I'm collecting, they increase your spell slots. So there's like 8 of them total in the game, and you start out with 2 spell slots. So at the end you should have 10 spell slots if you collect all the memory stones. Plus there's a talisman that gives you an additional 2 more if you're willing to sacrifice the talisman slot. Okay, but I did say I was going to level up, so let me do that. And let's see. I guess I'll do dexterity. My weapon scales with both strength and dexterity, but slightly more of dexterity. Like it shows C in both, but letter grades only indicate a range, not the actual specific numerical value is hidden. But once they upgrade this sword a little bit more, it'll become more apparent that there's a slight preference for dexterity over strength. But the cool part is, with strength, if you two-hand a weapon, it acts as like a 50% bonus to your strength. So I have 20 strength right now. If I two-hand a weapon, it'll be like having 30 strength. Plus I have that additional 5 points from my Radagon's Sword Steel Talisman. And these rats have yellow eyes because they're frenzied. We'll get more into frenzy later. If you come to the Weeping Peninsula early in your playthrough, there's some power-ups you can get without really having to fight anything. So, like, my playthrough so far could have been a little bit easier if I would have come here earlier, but I'm not necessarily doing things in the most optimal order. I'm doing things in the most interesting order. These statues here, they show you the way to catacombs that you haven't cleared yet. So, they don't work if you have already cleared the catacombs, but they indicate the general direction of a catacomb. And if we're going for a platinum, there's a legendary spirit ash that we can obtain from here. So I'll go ahead and just complete this catacomb real quick. Not a big deal. Okay, I have, let's see, for flask I have 10 crimson and 1 cerulean. When it comes to FP consumption, I don't need anything from here. When it comes to FP consumption, this sword is very, very low on FP consumption, so it's very efficient. So 1 flask of cerulean tears is more than enough for most things. Oh yeah, I forgot. I have to finish these guys off. These flame pillars here, they toggle on and off when you hit them. You can use a bow and arrow and shoot them from afar, but also Margit Shackle works as well. I'm not really concerned with grabbing glove wart and stuff because I'm not really using spirit ashes. There's a prattling pate item there, but I'm not interested in that because there's only really one of those items I'm going to be using. And it's not that one. Okay. There we go. That's what I was waiting on. There should be more. If I remember correctly, the boss of this, I think it's the Cemetery Shade. And if that's the case, I believe it's weak to fire. Could be misremembering, but it could be weak to... I think it's weak to fire. And if that's the case, Blood Flame Blade will be very effective. Let's see here. So it is a Cemetery Shade. And these things can be dangerous because they can paralyze you. And they do blood loss buildup. And they can really mess you up, actually. Okay, Lootle the Headless. This is one of the legendary spirit ashes that you have to collect for a trophy. Spirit of a headless knight who leads the mausoleum soldiers, wields a lance enrobed in death and hurls spectral lances at foes. Lootle sacrificed her life so that in death she could continue to protect a soulless demigod until their revival, earning her the hero's honor of Erdtree burial. It's likely that this soulless demigod refers to, in fact, almost certainty that the soulless demigod is Godwyn. Godwyn the Golden, whose image of a face we saw deep under, like, at the foundations of Stormvale Castle with the deformed face. And it says that Lootle is leader of mausoleum soldiers. We haven't come across mausoleum soldiers yet, but we're about to. Okay. See, and once again, these jellyfish, in case the statue wasn't enough of a clue, the jellyfish point out interesting things. Oh, you know what? I actually need to go up here to this church first. Mausoleum prowls, cradling the soulless demigod, which is Godwyn. O Marika, Queen Eternal, he is your unwanted child. I wouldn't say unwanted. They call him Godwyn the Golden for a reason, you know? He was kind of a favorite. And interestingly, this church has a statue of Radagon rather than Marika. These sacred tears, I've collected some of them already. Actually, 2 of them I haven't used yet, but they increase how much HP or FP your flask refill. Let's talk to Melina.
Spoken echoes of Queen Marika linger here as well. Shall I share them with you? In Marika's own words, then, after thy death, I will give back what I once claimed, return to the lands between, wage war, and brandish the Elden ring, grow strong in the face of death. Warriors of my lord, Lord Godfrey,
That message was directed at the Tarnished, who she wants to return to the lands between to forge a new order. Godfrey was the one who Godfrey also became Tarnished when he was exiled, and it's implied that he led the Tarnished in their exile. This is a walking mausoleum. There's like, I think 7 of these in the whole game. Those are mausoleum soldiers, but we'll get to them in a minute. First, there's another sacred tier. So yeah, so far in the Weeping Peninsula, we've gotten 3 sacred tiers. Just rode in there and picked them up. So if you want to start a game out with an advantage, go to Weeping Peninsula and just ride around collecting sacred tiers. Okay, these ghost soldiers that don't have heads, they're the Mausoleum Knights, and they guard these walking mausoleums. When you defeat a boss, some bosses give you remembrances, which lets you get items, 1 of 2 items from the Round Table Hold. These will actually let you duplicate remembrances, even if you've used it already. Unfortunately, you have to keep track mentally of which items you've gotten from remembrances and which ones you've used already, but they can do that. The ones with the bells can duplicate any remembrance. The ones without the bells can only duplicate the remembrances that aren't for shard bearers. And a shard bearer will be like, for example, Godric and Renala were both shard bearers because you get great runes from them. And if you, these ghost barnacle things, if you destroy enough of this, you don't have to destroy all of them, but if you destroy enough of them, like half, these things will collapse. Was that enough? Yeah, there we go. I'm not going to duplicate anything right now, and maybe not ever, but yeah, once you knock those down, you can go inside, and there'll be a tomb you can interact with, and it'll let you duplicate remembrances. And you can only do this once per walking mausoleum, by the way. Okay, I've already used that sacred tier.
Well, it's been an age. How can I help? Have a safe.
And once I'm done here, I need to buy a piece of clothing from Inya, the finger reader. And I'll just get whatever's cheapest because I need to use box services for that to progress his quest line. I'm a little low on runes, but momentarily I should have more runes because I'm gonna defeat a golem. Oh, they're following me. Okay. until this guy comes up. Any more? Nope. Okay, this is a trap chest. You can, if you notice smoke start coming out, you can escape traps by quickly and immediately rolling away from it. But I'm going to purposely let it trap me. And it transports us to Langdell, the royal capital. And this elevator will not work right now, so we can't get into the city that way. But yeah, there's a giant dragon corpse here. We'll see more of this later, but the dragon's name is Grandsax, and it once attacked Langdell. And to show where we are, we're all the way here. The map is bigger than you expect when you first start the game. When you first start, Limgrave takes up the majority of it, and then as you explore, it expands outward and outward, and as you can tell from all this, there's quite a bit more to go. These guys can't bleed either, so won't use Blood Flame Blades for that. And this one's tougher than the one in the Weakened Peninsula, so it'll take more to kill it. This portal here won't be usable until much later. But yeah, this is it's an overview of Langdell, including the Colosseum. We'll be coming here later. But for now, let's see, I got some runes. Let's see if that's enough to buy something. And now that we have 2 great runes, I should also get a new talisman pouch.
I had my doubts, but look at you. Only once before have I seen 2 great runes together. Look there. The fingers shudder with exuberance. Fine work, brave Tarnished. The greater will is pleased. You have earned the right to become Elden Lord. Now, seek the Erd Tree and an audience with Queen Marika to become Elden Lord and restore the Golden Order. The fingers expect as much from you as they do young Gideon. Take this, a token of farewell. Now, go forth, become Elden Lord.
So once, so the city of Langdell is walled off to you. It's protected by a barrier. And in order to be allowed to enter, you have to obtain 2 great runes, which I have now. But that doesn't mean I'm going to enter yet. Alright, I want to receive equipment up. Okay, I don't have enough yet. But you can... So this is how you can redeem a remembrance. I've spent the one for Godric to get some runes. But yeah, you can... Like for Renala, you can trade her remembrance and claim either the Carian Regal Scepter or Renalla's full moon a spell. But notice this. The spell requires 70 intelligence, and the scepter requires 60. And reading the description, only those of the highest intelligence may wield this, the finest of all glintstone staves. Renala was very smart, so before she lost her mind, she was extremely impressive, and that's how she became the governor of Ray Lucari in the first place. She excelled at full moon sorceries. So Ray Lucaria, they primarily focused on glintstone sorceries, which are derived from the stars. But she came along, and because of her efforts, a new school was founded within Ray Lucaria that posited that the moon was equal to the stars because of her mastery of full moon sorcery. And she became so well respected for her skill and intellect that she became the governor of Ray Lucaria, and her increase in prestige allowed her to become queen of Liurnia.
Well, I took you no man to lay out your own.
But then, because of the stuff that happened with her, she lost her mind. I don't need that. I'm not going to use sorcery, so I'll just sell this for runes. If I were to choose one thing from here, if I were to trade this in and redeem it, I would choose to get her staff, because it is a really powerful staff. And the reason I wouldn't choose the moon is because there's a better version of the moon spell called Ronnie's Dark Moon. Okay, let me get the... I don't know if the Queen's Robe can be altered. Basically, I need clothing that can be altered. I'm gonna assume that the Queen's Robe can maybe be altered, so I'll get that. But yeah, let me see if I can find Bach again. He's at one of these sites of grace. So let me see if I can find which one. If I can't find him... Oh, there he is.
Good to see you. Do you remember me? Bok, the demi-human. You helped me before and retrieved... Please, allow me to serve you as your seamster. I can't make nothing from scratch.
There is something I need to grab in order to make sure we don't mess up this quest line. You know what?
Please do be...
I'm going to hold off on talking more to him for now until I have that specific item that's needed. But for now, let's see. Let's visit the Carian Manor.
Well, then I presume these old bones serve their purpose.
Okay, I already bought this.
I've explained the peril of the enchanted snake.
Okay, before I talk to him about that. Okay. I can proceed upwards, and actually let me make sure I have one specific item that I'll need later. Let's see, faith, okay, I got the intelligence knot. Cool, okay. This is a trap for the defense. I'm just going to avoid that. It's pretty easy to avoid. Hopefully it doesn't hit me while I'm trying to read this lore sword. The resting place of the contemptible cuckoos, lost in the siege of Caria Manor. So cuckoos are loyal to Ray Lucaria, who attacked as part of their rebellion against Renala, they attacked her manor, Karia Manor, and but of course, Karia Manor was more than equipped to defend itself. Okay, we have to be careful here because there's these things. So you see like an item here, go to grab it, but then there's these fingers buried under the ground that will grab you. Like there's one there. So as you can see why an invading army might have a little bit of trouble. This thing waiting to drop on you from above. I'm not going to go directly underneath it. I'll stay off to the side. But yeah, if you just rush in here not knowing what you're doing, you're going to have a bad time. Lady Ronnie, we have long awaited you. I pray for your house's swift revival. May the full moon shine upon Karia. So Renala has 3 children, Rykard, Radon, and Ronnie. But of the 3, only Ronnie seems to be the one interested in carrying on the legacy of her house. In fact, Radon is more interested, seems to be more loyal to another house. He's actually more interested in upholding the legacy of Radon and Godfrey, both of whom are affiliated with the Golden Order. And before continuing, there's a detour we can go to obtain one of the legendary weapons, the Sword of Night and Flame. When this game first came out, this sword was much better than it is now. It's still pretty decent though. Storied Sword and Treasure of Karia Manor, one of the legendary armaments. Astrologers who preceded the sorcerers established themselves in mountaintops that nearly touched the sky and considered the fire giants their neighbors. So the astrologers were friendly with the fire giants who lived in the mountains. This sword its Ash of War has 2 attacks. The R1 attack shoots out a beam of magic energy, but the R2 attack does emits a spiral flame. The downside of the sword though is, I'll show you. It requires some pretty high stat investment, 12 strength, 12 dexterity, but the big ones are 24 intelligence and 24 faith. But the Ash of War attacks can only use 1 at a time. So if you use the magic beam attack, it's scaling entirely off of intelligence, and if you use the flame attack, it's scaling entirely off of faith. So whichever attack you use, the stats invested in the other stat, whether intelligence or faith, are kind of wasted. So, good weapon, but you kind of have to waste a lot of stat points to use it. Okay. Got that, so I can proceed. And I just run past these guys. They're part of the manor's defenses. As you can tell, they're not real. They appear to be puppet forms of Rhea Lucaria soldiers who were turned into this. You don't see me. Yep. Just keep going. You do not see me. Nobody's here. Okay. That's enough sneaking. I forgot to level up. Not a problem. The boss of this area is a spectral enemy, so Blood Flame Blade won't be effective. I mean, it will add fire damage, but not enough to really be worth using. Assassin here, and one here. I take the right path because there's a hidden assassin right here as well. So I'd rather fight one than two. Okay. We're on the Royal Moongazing Grounds. And by the way, since she's in water, lightning is actually pretty effective against her. So if you are going to use, like, an incantation, don't use fire, use lightning. Okay, you can stop now. Probably should have put on the Spelldrake talisman, but she's not that bad. So yeah, this is called the Royal Moongazing Grounds, and you know, I'm calling the moon version of the sundial the moon dial, and this sort of pond was most likely used to observe the moon. Let me level up real quick. Before I proceed, I need to go to Round Table Hold.
Ah, we meet again after all. I apologize for any offense given by my bearing, but I'm quite unable to move, you see. So, what do you need? The misshapen corpse on the Stormveil. That is a sacred relic of the Black Knives plot, as that famed night of assassination is known. It happened during the golden age of the Erd Tree, long before the shattering of the Elden Ring. Someone stole a fragment of the Rune of Death from Malekith, the Black Blade, and on a bitter night, murdered Godwyn the Golden. That was the first recorded death of a demigod in all history, and it became the catalyst. Soon, the Elden Ring was smashed, and thus sprang forth the war known as the Shattering. I once wished to become a scholar, you see. I've spent many an hour scouring the archives for knowledge of that fateful plot. The world has grown crooked, and if you intend to put it to rights, you'd better understand what happened to make it this way. And that thing is to blame for the shape I'm in now. I urge the utmost caution. Don't disturb
You can
the
see
corpse
flies
more than
buzzing
necessary.
around him. He's dying. So that's why I waited so long to talk to him, because once you start talking to him, it sort of kicks off an invisible clock, basically.
Ah, you defeated
I don't know
Godric
yet
and claimed
exactly
yourself a great
how it
rune.
works, but I only
Looks like we both got what
you
we
should only
wanted out
talk
of
to him
Stormveil.
once you're ready to start.
Well done, friend.
Once you're ready to
Something to
tackle
mark the
these
occasion.
catacombs, I'm gonna be
Go
doing
on.
soon,
Take it.
and you're ready to start Ronnie's quest.
As you might have guessed, no need to be polite. Ah, so you've met Dee. Dee is an old friend. We found ourselves journeying together for a time, bound by our exploration of death. But our paths have since diverged, never again to cross. Though that's hardly an uncommon fate for two friends. Dee was telling that he discovered the mark of the centipede. The centipede is an ancient symbol of the curse mark. As long as whoever finds and uses it is not nefarious by nature, then we may be able to form an alliance. If only I could speak to them in person. And if they were like you, all the better. Oh,
Dialogue options not really
You've
appearing.
met Garank, I take it. Then owing to our duties shared, we are now comrades in arms. I think you've earned this. The power of the Golden Order to aid the hunt of those who live in death.
So he's D, Hunter of the Dead. There's a second character named D, Beholder of the Dead.
Are you acquainted with a man named Roger? You know, the piteous fellow.
And obviously
hiding
they're
away on the
brothers.
balcony. He was a formidable spellblade in times past. Don't let his easy air deceive you. He was wise beyond his years, stout of heart and clear of mind. No more, though. You see him now, ravaged by thorns, muttering and rambling, like he's half dead already. I can't stomach to watch. Take well the lesson, friend. That's how you end up when seduced by those who live in death. When grace is sullied, it rots people from the inside, breaks them. I serve the Golden Order, that I might put this crooked land to rights, following only the guidance of the Great Elden Ring. Those who live in death fall outside the principles of the Golden Order. Their mere existence sullies the guidance of gold, tainting its truth. And so it is the vermin must be exterminated, down to the very last.
always good to see. So,
But we can talk to Fia. Now that... So, the trigger for her quest line seems to be entering Alta's Plateau. Once you do that, we're able to start her quest line.
Greetings, great champion called by grace. I am Fia. Circumstances have compelled my stay at the Round Table Hold. Great champion, would you allow me to hold you? But briefly, perhaps you might share with me some of your lively vigor and your stout-heartedness. Doing so will grant me the warmth of a champion, and you, I am sure, will bear a Baldakin's blessing. Do you think it vulgar, perhaps? Where I come from, it is a sacred act. Ah, my thanks, great champion. You are very warm. What you felt light up inside you was a Baldakin's blessing. Though it is but a fleeting thing, I am afraid. Come back to me, should you require another. I will take you in my arms as often as you need.
This animation is really slow, so you just have to wait for it. And then, immediately after, talk to her again.
I'm pleased to see. Would you like the blessing is still? Would you like to be?
And when she says the blessing is still aflame, that's when
Regardless.
you know to go ahead and
Now.
do this again.
Come closer. You are so very warm.
And there we go. Talk in secret is what we're looking for.
I was known as a deathbed companion. Where I come from, after I received the warmth and lively vigor from a number of champions. I lay with the remains of an exalted noble. To grant him another chance at life. To do so is the purpose of my being. But before I could bear the noble into new life, I was awakened by the guidance of grace and chased from my birthplace. Pray, be kind. Despite all that, I still wish to be a deathbed companion. So please,
So a deathbed
let
companion,
me hold you like this
she
as often as it takes.
pulls people like this to take lively vigor from them, like they're part of their life energy, and she passes on to corpses to give them another chance at life.
My dear, have you ever heard of Black Knife Prince?
There we go.
Dear
That's-
Roger likes to talk of them when abed, and the ancient plot in which the first of the demigods was slain. The black knives wielded by the assassins who committed the act, along with the impressions they made, somehow hide the truth of the conspiracy. These grand affairs are hardly my forte, but dear Roger began to weep as he spoke.
Fia is associated with one of the possible endings you can choose, and of course I'll be completing her quest line and making that ending available.
In truth, I've heard tell from someone else about the Black Knife Prince that fascinate dear Roger so.
There's a map
But
we
it
can
wouldn't be
examine later.
right to give this to him, stuck as he is in the round table hole. Perhaps you could make use of it?
Yeah. And we're gonna have to let her hold us a third time to do her quest.
I am pleased. Would you like me? The blessing is. Would you like. Now.
Okay.
You are so. Very warm.
Okay. Then we're gonna choose May I Ask a Favor?
My dear, might I ask something of you? Could you please find the owner of this dagger and return it to them? A certain person gave it to me as a gift. It's a very precious thing. It must have a special place in the owner's heart. So
Double
I would
entendre.
like for the original owner to have it back, if you wouldn't mind.
She definitely wants that dagger to have a special place in someone's heart.
I'd like you to find it's a very dear Roger, the ancient plot, the black knife, along with the impression.
Okay. So
Then
nothing
good
new.
day to you.
Alright. And while he's slowly getting up, we can read this. It was once a special weapon of gold and silver intertwined. So we know who that belongs to, obviously D. But is now worn down and marred by a black gash, which likely conceals something. This is a map which the only way you're able to tell where this is to look for the landmarks nearby it. Which in this case is a rise, a tree, and a little indentation in the, like a little canyon. And a Baldekin's Blessing. A Baldekin, by the way, is like a canopy to cover something. As I said before, a deathbed companion, she takes the lively vigor of champions, and that's what she did to us. So technically, having this item in your inventory actually reduces your maximum health. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this so I don't have my maximum health reduced. It reduces it by 5%, which the item is definitely not worth it.
Hello. You've been by, thank you. So what can I do?
I'm gonna give him the dagger.
How did you get your hand? Well, I know very well. Why don't I return it to good work?
Okay. And then I'm gonna rest. And he's not here, so actually, while I'm here, let me talk to Corin.
Oh, I see you. Welcome to the round.
I haven't just arrived, I've just been ignoring you.
I'm Corin, a man of the cloth. I teach incantations, the strength granted us by the Two Fingers, and explore the secrets of the Golden Order, so that one day, if a tarnished of the Round Table Hold should become Elden Lord, I might counsel them, ensuring order regains its proper form.
Yeah, because you look totally sane with that blindfold on and the wheel around your neck. That's exactly the sort of person I want counsel for.
The guidance
Counsel
of
from.
grace. You do. Wonderful news. Most tarnished are blind.
So he wants to
these
counsel
days.
the new Elden
You
Lord,
are something
but he doesn't
of
see
rare
guidance of
breed.
grace.
Well,
A little bit full of himself,
what do you
actually.
say? Care to learn an incantation of the Two Fingers?
Rejection could be pretty useful for one particular part of the game.
May the gold.
Well, wonderful. Make the journey to the capital. The two things you may be for we. So, Godric, despite being his castle light, I suspect.
I was hoping to find dialogue on Nepheli.
Ah, yes. I wonder if you've met my foster. He's in his study. If you haven't already, Father is, I'm sure, talking.
I already talked to
It's
him.
about time I headed off. I'll see you again, warrior.
Okay.
Journey to the cap. The two things you may be.
There we go, about Nepheli.
I understand you've been speaking to Nepheli. She's my daughter. I took her in when she lost the guidance of grace. Though a mere axe-wielding barbarian, her youthful credulity suited my purposes. So I put her to work. Do not hesitate to employ her. Should her services benefit you, despite her looks, she is more than capable in the press of battle.
Yeah, so he's obviously not a great guy. Okay. So, the map we found leads to here. Let's actually go there. Put a little marker here so I know which direction to go. Roger's questline actually isn't really necessary, and there's no reward for it. And even though it ties into Rye's questline, it's not necessary to complete Rye's questline. I'm only doing this for expanded lore. In a regular playthrough, I wouldn't even bother with him. Old Palace Ruins. This is, so there's underground, there's Old Palace Ruins, UHL. This is ULD. This is one of the only places above ground where you can find this statue that we find underground. And also the ancestral followers. Okay. I don't want to mess with these guys. And I don't want to mess with that bear. To aggro that guy. Oh well. He looks like a winged hussar. And obviously, because he's headless, he is most likely a Mausoleum Knight, although a higher rank by the looks of it than most. By the fact that he's much tougher than most of them. So there's Deathroot here. There's actually 2 bosses in this dungeon, and one of them is hidden. And so, like most skeletons, this one you finish off once you kill it. But some of the others, a lot of the other skeletons here work differently. Instead of they're being animated by like this weird light, and in order to kill them, you have to kill these guys who are bringing them to life. Yeah, whenever you see blades like this, always look up, because you can sometimes ride on top of the blades to get somewhere else. Yeah, like these guys, that weird flame means they're being animated by this guy. And there we go, a hidden wall. And you can find one of these guys. I should probably not do the follow-up on this Astral War. Nah, sometimes it works. Oh yeah, don't get hit with that projectile, because it applies destined death to you, which can reduce your max HP and does damage over time. Cool. He's gone. And there we go, the black knife print. Now I've finished this catacombs properly. And the wondrous physics should last for 3 minutes, so if I hurry, I can beat the boss, the actual boss of this place before then. And I might as well just use that and heal. There we go. It's another cemetery shade. Fire is effective against it. And even though that looks easy, these cemetery shades are pretty dangerous. When I've been collecting some death root, let me talk to Gronk again. After a certain point, I think it's 4 death root, he attacks you. Hopefully I don't have 4 just yet, because I'm not ready to fight Gronk. I think I've given him 1. Okay. Oh, he's not here. I know where he's at then. He is... This happens sometimes, where if he's not there, he'll be hanging out here, doing his weird little howls. Okay. I'll give him some death root. Get some stuff from him. Okay. Now, I'm gonna talk to Roger again, now that I have the black knife print. Okay, don't have enough to level up yet.
Always good to see you say so. This, I can scarcely believe you managed to get your hands on this. You recall our conversation about the Night of the Black Knives, yes? They say the assassins who carried out the deed were scions of the Eternal City, a group entirely of women, arrayed in armor of silver under cloaks which fooled the eye. The knives they wielded, though, were imparted with the power of the Rune of Death through sinister rite. Please, I beg of you, lend me the knife print for a time. I'd love nothing more, though only a fragment. A very specific ritual had to be performed to impart the power of the Rune of Death. Traces of the one who performed the rite are sure to remain in the... Half my body has been suffused with death.
Alright. While he's doing that, let me do this. Wait for him, and when he bows, I know he's vulnerable. He can do frost buildup pretty easily with that staff, which can really mess you up. The fact that he's red means he's an NPC invader, and unlike Dark Souls, in which there was a lore reason for NPC invasions, which was Dark Souls had this multiple universe thing, where the NPC invaders were from another world. Basically, they are briefly connected to your current world. That was the explanation in Dark Souls, right? It doesn't work that way in Elden Ring. In Elden Ring, a lot of times you're invaded by somebody who is in your current world, and they know they're invading you from their current world. This one, From Software didn't quite get this right. So when you're joined in to help fight Nereus, a message appeared afterward that says you're returned to his own world. But we know he didn't. He returned to a tunnel a few feet away. The exact same world. So the multiple worlds thing does not hold up here in Elden Ring. More than likely, NPC invaders are aspects, like projections of... Instead of invader being someone who's physically present, there is more of a projection of that person. And sometimes, if a person has internal turmoil, the NPC invader can be a projection of part of themselves, like part of that conflicted piece of them.
Ah, hello. I was hoping to see you. My examination is complete. Here's the knife print back. Now I have a fair Lunar Princess Rani, one of the children born to King Consort Radagon and his first wife, Renala, demigod and sister to General Radahn and Praetor Rykard. Hers was the name I discovered in the imprint. Truly, you have my thanks. But if I might be so bold, I would like to ask something more of you. If Rani truly is the one who plotted that fateful night, then she should bear the curse mark of destined death somewhere upon her flesh. I would like you to procure it for me. And then all will be laid bare. I will have the answers I have sought for so long. I have some idea of Rani's potential whereabouts. There's a manor to the north of the Academy of Rhea Lucaria. It is the familial home of the Carian royals, from whom Rani descends. There's been talk of the old royals' vassals gathering there in recent years. Rani's whereabouts since the shattering are a well-kept secret. She hasn't been seen even once, but I suspect she might have returned to the manor in which she was born. I'm afraid there's something I must tell you. Do you know of those who live in death?
Yeah.
The very notion of life in death defies the Golden Order. By Dee's account, these defiled fiends must be expunged. But truth be told, I seek the curse mark to save them. You may find this peculiar, but I discovered something in my examination of the Knight of the Black Knives. These souls have committed no offense. They have every right to life, only they happen to touch upon a
So
flaw
I'll be
in the
starting
order.
Ronnie's quest line probably next stream. So for the rest of this stream, I'm going to be doing some smaller tasks. Okay. So got that started. And now, as you'll have noticed, D is gone. But this door is open. And there's D. And the things emerging from him are what happens if you get death blighted.
Finally, it is returned to its rightful place. The stolen Hallowbrand of the exalted noble. And now, I must bid you goodbye as well.
Bye.
Though I ask you deliver this message to the Round Table Hold. I am Via, deathbed companion,
We know.
Hark Round Table. Disturb not the death of Godwyn, the exalted. We who humbly live in death.
She looks
live
very much
in
alive to
waiting.
me.
To one day welcome our Lord. What right does anyone have to object?
Like seriously,
Our Lord will rise,
those who live in death
the Lord of the many.
don't typically have, you know, skin. Of course, most people with skin don't vanish like that either, so, you know. We know Fia is a deathbed companion, and that she comes from a foreign land. But we haven't met any other deathbed companions, so we can't exactly compare her to anything.
Greetings. Are you here for... I need to warn you about something. A little while ago, someone started lurking in the
She's
wing
referring
on
to the
opposite
red guy.
side of the round table. And I can hear, from all the way over there, the howling and wailing of spirits in fear of a curse. I can even hear the repulsive twisted malice in itself. A plethora of spirits in an unceasing cacophony. I can't even imagine. How much suffering inflicted to who knows how many souls. Not even the grafting caused anything like this to happen. You should keep your distance. I know you're strong, but please.
Oh, really?
I've decided to leave the Round Table. I'm off in search of a noble scholar known as the Gold Mask, to beg his instruction. We may not meet again for some time. If there's any incantations you wish to learn, now's the moment. May the Golden Order
Notice that the banners here in the fortified, in the Round Table Hold, have the lion iconography and are kind of similar to what we'll find in Castle Stormville.
Have you ever felt the curse? With your whole
Yeah,
being,
the room's decorations
life
are
itself,
a little bit weird.
and
So we have the banner with the lion
defiled
juxtaposed by books everywhere and
apparently not.
dead bodies who are rotting.
A stranger to defilement, ignorant of your own ignorance. You no longer interest me.
Okay.
I've been long without peace. Don't spoil my quietude.
And yeah, he's red because he's sort of here as an invader, but there's a non-aggression pact in the Round Table Hold, indicated by that symbol on the left side of the screen, which means I literally can't attack anybody here. So he's likely prevented from attacking as well. But yeah, he's located somewhere else in the same world, and he's projecting himself here. Alright, did I recently get a death? Okay. Alright, I am going to head over here. Because I'm going to progress Nefeli's questline. I keep meaning to try out this Ash of War sometime. Valve the basically, it's you put on a shield, and if you time it right, you can become invincible from any attack. I mean, I'm sure this being Elden Ring, there's probably some exceptions, but even like Melania's waterfowl dance, if you time Valve the Indomitable just perfectly, you can completely negate waterfowl dance and even prevent her from healing.
Oh, it's you. Well, what do you make of it? What's happened to this village? I witnessed a sight much the same in my infancy. The oppression of the weak. Murder and pillage unchecked. A waking nightmare made by men. But this time, I'm a woman grown, and though the suffering cannot be undone, I can still mete out justice. Justice to the oppressors. Let the scars I carve remind them. I am Nefeli Lu, warrior.
The way she says that line is going to be... Another character is going to say something pretty similar to that much later on. Which says, I am Nefeli Lu, warrior. So he's talking about old Albus hiding. So we're going to meet old Albus. This guy. Okay. He really iframed out of my attacks. Alright, this guy should be dead already. Suspicious looking pot that's weirdly lit up, even in such a dark place, has a weird light, but where's the light source coming from? Let's roll into it.
Please, no. Dear me.
So,
I haven't a clue.
this guy is an
Secrets lie
Albinorc.
with me, not a one.
There's two types of Albinorcs, first generation and second generation. The first generation Albinorcs, like him, look more human, but their legs don't work. So they can't move around on their own. So you frequently see them either crawling or you see them riding direwolves.
Wait then. You're not one of them? Well, what a relief. Oh, goodness me. I am Albus, an Albinoric. As you can see, we're finished.
Albinorcs
The whole
were
village
create a
finished.
species that were created, and they're kind of an analog to the myth of homunculi from medieval times.
Would you look after this medallion? You must keep it out of the cursemonger's hands.
So, of course, this is also a split medallion.
And if you should meet the young Albinoric Latena, then please give it to her.
Brandishing the medallion with both halves conjoined will activate the Grand Lift of Rolled, granting access to a hidden path. In other words, this secret medallion will guide the bearer to the land of Mikla's Halig Tree. So it's called a secret medallion because the Grand Lift of Rolled, we've already done the Grand Lift of Dectus. The Grand Lift of Rolled, its normal destination is the mountaintops of the giants. If you ride it with the Rolled Medallion, that's where you go. But if you use the secret medallion, then the elevator has to stop along the way and stops at a hidden path to the Halig Tree. So that's what it's meant. Alright, we can actually summon Nepheli for this. Alright, I'm gonna drop down here so I can get the jump. There we go, and these guys can be a little bit tough. But especially when they start breathing fire and do their rapid jump slams. Just needed 14 more runes to level up. Well, let's kill some Albinorics then, and get those runes. Sorry, Albinorics, it's your unlucky day. I need 14 runes. And you gave me 66. I'll take that. Nice. Alright, this time when we go back to the round table hold, things are going to be a little bit different. Like that. Everything's... So the round table hold exists in sort of like a pocket dimension away from the real world. I suspect that he probably lured me to a copy of that round table hold, because the round table hold is actually a copy of a place of an actual place we'll find in Langdell. So when we get to Langdell, we'll see the real round table hold that this one is a copy of, and I'm thinking that the place we were just in was also a copy of the round table hold that he set up as a trap. It was this guy who ambushed us, by the way. His name's Insha. And before we talk to Gideon, let me talk to Nepheli. She's downstairs.
Ah, you, please. Leave me be. It's pathetic, I know, but I need to think. Ah, you. Please. It's pathetic.
Okay. So once we talk to her, it'll open up a dialogue option to talk to Gideon about her. So let's talk to Gideon now.
Journey to the capital, laying the
Yeah,
two
yeah.
fingers. You maybe.
Nepheli's despair.
You've already heard. Indeed. It seemed the whelp harbored suspicions, so I had no further use for her. Honestly, what's a man to do? A determined plebeian is more wicked than an old.
This guy's father of the year.
Quite frankly, I suspect that's just what the Queen wants. A dose of ambition to incite the tarnished. Oh, my apologies for that nasty business. Ensha got rather ahead of himself.
Ahead of himself,
As his
which
master.
means
I'd like to express my regret.
Gideon would have preferred that Insha had acted against us at a later time.
Finished. Forevermore.
So this is kind of confirmation that Gideon had always meant to betray us.
Ah, yes. By way of apology, allow me to tender some advice and find the Albinoric woman. She hides in a cave to the west of the Laskia ruins, which jut from the mist-shrouded lake of Liurnia. She knows the location of the...
Okay. So let's talk to Nepheli again. This game is bad about sending you running back and forth throughout the round table hold a lot. We had to do that with Hugh and Roderica when she was there, and also to buy later on to buy smithing stones from the twin mate and Husk over there on the other side.
Ah, you. Please, leave me be. It's pathetic, I know. So you know already, do you? Right. It's true. My father cast me out for indulging my emotions, forgetting the mission, punishment for offing his pawns. Lord Gideon has offered me guidance all my life. I would have done anything for him, to place him on the throne of Elden Lord. And yet though it was not my intent, I betrayed him. And to think he'd order his men to enact such treachery. Where is the justice he purports in that? He once told me that if he became Elden Lord, he would never allow the downtrodden to be cheated ever again. Was he simply lying to me?
Yeah.
No. How could I say that? Father has always given me his guidance. And now, I've lost it.
So the Stormhawk King was the item we picked up. Is the Spirit Ash, but we can't use it. So the item description said that even though there's a Spirit Ash, it answers nobody's summons. But I believe it does make an exception for Nepheli because of her lineage. We obtained this in the Chapel of Anticipation, where the game started after I revisited that chapel later. So I'm going to give this to her.
Is that ash? I can smell the ancient storm in it. My thanks. I'll gladly take it. I'm not like Roderica. I don't feel the presence of spirits, let alone see them. Still, this ash, it reminds me of my first hawk. Thank you.
Okay. It may seem weird that I'm going back to talk to Gostock, but there's a reason for that.
Now, I can I?
It seems you have to talk to him, even if you talked to him before, after you give Nepheli the Stormhawk King. At a later time, her quest will progress, and it involves Gostock. So now, Gideon said there's a cave west of Lascar Ruins, which is in this area. So I am going to head in that direction. Most of the caves in this game are pretty obvious in the map because you see this to indicate that there's a cave. This one is not obvious at all. So without his, his instructions, you have a hard time finding it. These are the last Scar ruins. Head west. Right. These. I'm a little bit off track. Yeah. Should probably go west and a little bit south. Maybe a lot south. There's a cave entrance in the wall, basically. That's what I'm looking for. But it shouldn't be this far down. As many times as I've found this cave in the past. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, this is... So, this icon only appears once you actually found the cave, which I did just now. But otherwise, there's nothing on the map to indicate where it's at. Nothing important in that chest. And I don't need to fight through all these guys because I can just drop down. time to fight another Bloodhound Knight. This time without help from Blythe. The follow-up attack that my Ash of War does is so hard to hit with. Okay. Here's Latina. She's an Albinoric. And of course, like all Albinorics, her legs don't work. So she has to ride a dire wolf.
Foul tarnished. What do you want? I told the all-hearing brute that I possess
All-hearing
no such
brute.
medallion.
She's referring to
Or
Gideon.
have you come to take more from me? Was my other half not enough? Oh. Do you speak true? So old Albus entrusted his medallion to you. Then I've no choice but to trust that this was his dying will. Let's try again. I'm Latenna, an Albinoric, the same as old Albus. My apologies for my coarse words earlier. I presume the worst. Seeing that you're another tarnished like that all-hearing brute, I hope that you will forgive me. The medallion's better off in your hands anyway. Would you consider doing me a great service?
After you just called me
I
foul
must go
tarnished?
back.
Okay.
There is something I must do, even if I must say farewell to my wolf, Lobo.
Lobo
Will
means
you show
wolf.
me the way? To the land of
She has a
Midley's
wolf
Haven
named
tree.
Wolf.
If you accept, I would gladly apprise you of the whereabouts of the medallion's other half. Thank you kindly. They say the other half of the medallion is beyond the Forbidden Lands, north of the Erdtree, in Castle Sol, on the mountaintops.
Yeah, the
of
other
the
half of the
giants,
medallion is going to be much
accessible
harder to
by the
find.
grand lift
Or
of
not
light.
find, obtain, because you have to fight a pretty difficult boss to obtain it.
Then I suppose it's time. Farewell, Lobo. My faithful wolf. My better half. I will go with the Tarnished, so that our journey will not have been in vain. Forgive me, Lobo.
So, obviously, we just got her Spirit Ash. You can summon her to fight, but because her legs don't work, she's stationary. She is good with her bow and arrow, but she can't move from her spot where you summon her. So she's like a mounted turret. However, if you summon her in a space where dire wolves are nearby, and I only know of one such spot, which is Caria Manor, she'll actually ride the dire wolf, and then can move. Alright, we got that. And what should we do now? Let's progress Hayeta's questline. Actually, you know what? Before I forget, on Bach, I need to... Let's see, Road of Iniquity. I'm looking for something specific. Oh, okay. I can go this way to... Or I can go to... Let me go to Craftsman Shack. I may have grabbed it already, actually. I'm need to make sure I have this prattling pate item. I do, okay. So I could have progressed Bach's questline already, actually. That's what I needed. Okay, here we go.
Bok the seamster, at your service, master. Ready to make adjustments to your garments.
Oh, I don't have something he can adjust. I mean, I do, but not armor from a shard bearer. I have Renala's robe, but I guess that doesn't count. Or I don't know. Let's see.
Master, I was wondering, do you ever make adjustments to your garb yourself? I would, well, rather you let me do the job when possible, please. I don't ask anything in return, you know, and, well, I am your personal seamster after all. Oh, please. Bok the seams ready to...
Anything? Okay.
Oh,
well,
please.
Once I defeat Radon, I'll have something that I know I can have altered. But for now, let's see here. Let me progress Hyetta. I gave her one Shaburi grape already. I need to give her some more, and there's gonna be she's gonna be here in the Purified Ruins, and there happens to be a Shaburi grape in the ruins as well. So I'll just grab that. Alright, dog, you can leave me alone. Okay. It's under here. Sure, really great. And this. It raises faith. Fingers cannot speak, yet these were eloquent. Persistently did they wriggle, spelling out mysteries in the air. Thus do we gain the words of our faith. So, the fingers' movements are they're their own language. So the movements of the fingers are a separate language that they use to communicate from the greater will, and the finger readers interpret those movements. And interestingly, that's how Goldmask communicates. So once Corin finds Goldmask, Corin will be able to interpret the words of Goldmask. Ah, there she is.
Hello? Would you donate any Shaburi grapes in your possession? I'm on a pilgrimage in search, and when I eat one of those grapes, you're not like the others who give me grapes, are you? They rest their trembling hands upon me. Howling wordlessly, they gently stroke my eyes.
That's weird.
Their frail fingers, emaciated. Yet still, they give me the grapes. But you seem somehow firmer.
Interesting choice of words.
You are most kind indeed. May the blessing of the
Okay. Next, there should be the Revenger Shack. I've already discovered the Sigh of Grace, but now that I completed Irina's questline, Edgar should invade. And remember what I'm saying about NPC invaders, there are sometimes projections of strong feelings from the person. So it's not that Edgar personally has a problem with us, it's that he's so consumed with a desire for revenge that he'll attack, that this part of himself will attack anybody. Huh. As for why he just exploded, it was because of a buildup of blood loss. So the blood loss from Bloodflame Blade works over time. And we just got a Shaburi grape from him. so we can proceed. Where? Okay, here's where we need to go. Nice. And then after this is off to Madness Town, the Frenzy Flame Village. Don't know if I read this one already. This sword monument. This marks Melania's southward march, the blade of Mikla and her clean wrought knights. Grant her wings never to be clipped. Okay. Ironic bit of foreshadowing. Wings was likely meant metaphorically there, but she can also obtain later on in her final form literal wings. This is still... So these are Rhea Lucaria's soldiers fighting summons from Caria. It's like that troll is wearing a Carian helmet. So the war between Rhea Lucaria and Caria is still ongoing. And through here in this area, a Knight's Cavalry appears at nighttime. Rhea Lucaria, hallowed hall dedicated to the study of magic. Why shut your doors to me? Am I barred from donning the crown of stone? So, what this ghost is wearing with a headband, it identifies him as a sorcerer, but he's not good enough to wear the crown of stone in Rhea Lucaria. So, Rhea Lucaria, they have standards, right? They're not going to accept just anybody. If you can't prove your worth, you're out of there.
Hello? Would you donate any Shabriri grapes? I'm on a pilgrimage in search of them. When I eat one of those grapes, I can feel the... Oh, many thanks to you. Now I can feel the distant light once more. That aside, I wonder what Shabriri grapes really are.
Now you ask.
Delectably tender and sweet, yet searing. What a sight they must be to behold.
What a sight indeed. They're human eyes.
No. That's not possible. Not all of those people. Their own.
Yep.
So those noises I heard
The
were...
people giving her eyes to eat were taking out their own eyes to give to her.
Sorry.
And of course you're thinking, okay, what sane person would do that? No sane person would. They weren't sane.
I apologize. You only did as I asked. I'll be fine. Think no more of it.
Alright, let's rest. And is she still here? Yep.
I've gleaned something very important indeed. The reason the distant light, so faint it can't be, but with everyone's eyes together, it appears. Finally, it all makes sense. I'm certain now. I will be a finger maiden. I've gleaned something, I'm certain now.
Okay. There's one more grape she needs, except instead of being a Shabriri grape, it's going to be called a fingerprint grape. And by the way, the name Shabriri actually comes from Hebrew, where Shabriri was the name of a demon associated with blindness. And Shabriri is also a character in this game. Yeah, this tower up here, it's kind of like an Eye of Sauron thing. You get madness buildup if it sees you. So you don't want to see you. How did I lose health? Maybe from a fall. Whoa, no, don't want to fall. Okay. The way that, so it's a nuisance as long as it can see you, which if I'm riding around, it's gonna see me. So the way it's deactivated is to kill everything up here. And I managed to do it before the madness build up, so that should stop the thing from going. Oh, there we go. I was looking for that side of grace. Shabriri's Woe. So this is a talisman that it says it constantly attracts enemies' aggression. So if you're fighting with summons or you're fighting, co-op with other people, and you want an enemy to focus on you, then wearing that talisman will attract more aggression to you. It doesn't mean that the enemy won't attack your comrades at all, but it means that they will focus on you more. Alright, another NPC fight coming up. But first, let's talk to the ghost. Ah, Lord Vike, it seems that you are no lord after all. Then where is he, our true lord, our lord of frenzied flame? We beg of you, incinerate all that divides and distinguishes. Ah, may chaos take the world. So, Vike is the person on the cover of Elden Ring. Some people assume that the figure kneeling on the cover with the sword in the ground, that's you, the player. No, it's Vike. He was somebody he was a tarnished who attempted to become Elden Lord before you. He even managed to gather 2 great runes. But when it came time to when it came time for him to make a sacrifice, he was unwilling to make that sacrifice, and he chose a different path, and it led him to madness and to the frenzied flame. And let's observe how that worked out. This isn't the real Vike, this is a projection. He will be acting as an invader. Oh wow, it's hard to time a backstab when they first appear. Nice. But yeah, he uses madness attacks that build up madness in you. You can actually fight the real Vike later in an Evertrail, and instead of madness attacks, he uses lightning attacks. Sacred Tear. And this, for Vare's quest, when you have to get a maiden's blood, she counts at, I believe she was Vike's maiden who was killed. You can use her blood for Vari's quest as well. Let's go ahead and use this sacred tear. And we're going to go to Bellum Church. This is the last place before her final location to give Hyetta something.
Oh, hello. Is that you over there? Have you ever heard of fingerprint grapes?
Yep,
They're
just got one.
special grapes which only grow on those who've been clasped by the burnt fingers. I would truly love to try the distant light, but I can't sense a thing from the please. Without one, I don't know.
Before I give her that, let me show you what this is. Eyeball of the Night Vike, inflamed yellow. Seared with a repulsive fingerprint burn akin to those that marred his entire body. If offered to the blind maiden, it will lead her to the source of the distant light, allowing her to become a finger maiden. So the two fingers, as I mentioned, communicate with the motions, their finger motions, right? The three fingers are different. They communicate by leaving fingerprints. So the finger readers of the two fingers interpret the movement of the fingers as a language. Finger readers for the three fingers will read the fingerprints.
They're specialties without one.
There you go.
Oh, a fingerprint grape. Tried and true. What a wondrous thing. A fingerprint grape. Oh, how sweet. Yet, how it burns.
I wonder how many Scovilles that is. So she says, she talks about like eyeballs are spicy.
I compose myself again. May the blessing of the fingers be upon you. Thank you. I'm sure I'll be a finger.
Yep, you will. Alright, Royal Moongazing Grounds. So, I'm going to leave off the stream now. Next stream will be starting Ronnie's quest. So, thank you to everyone who showed up, and I'll see you